Hello, Monsignor John Kasza from St. James Catholic Church in Novi, Michigan. Today's topic is that of addiction. And in these series, we're not specifically giving advice on how to cure a particular addiction or deal with it, but in general. And so these kinds of things we'll talk about are kind of for any kind of addiction, whether it's a food addiction, an addiction to pornography, addiction to sexuality, addiction to gambling, addiction to drugs, alcohol. But the specifics will be discussed in later videos. Basically, an addiction is something that you find yourself uncontrollably attracted to. In other words, that whatever this thing is, you find that you cannot live without it. For some people, it might be shopping. They have to go shopping. For other people, it's gambling. For other people, it's food. They cannot live without having a lot of food. Or it could be sexual addiction, where they need to look at pornography or need to go out and solicit the use of a prostitute. It could be drugs. It could be alcohol. Whatever this thing is, you can't live without it. So how do you break that? You recognize that this thing, whatever it is, ultimately is not necessary for you to live. Ultimately, you don't need this thing to keep you alive. And that takes a lot of work. You have to really come to a realization through counseling and through talking with other people and through prayer that something that you're addicted to really is destroying your life. And how do you know if something's addictive? Well, do you find yourself ignoring other people in your life to get to this thing, whatever it is? Do you find yourself treating people poorly? Do you find yourself sacrificing time with others or time with yourself to be with this addiction? Has this thing taken over your life? Second thing is that an addiction is not the end of the world. Yes, it causes shame, it causes feelings of inadequacy, it causes people to sometimes withdraw from society. But when you do find yourself getting the help, it really draws you back into society. And this addiction, whatever it is, can be the cause of opening up new relationships in your life. Case in point, the 12-step program for Alcoholics Anonymous, which was made famous by Bill W. Basically, that support system allowed people who are suffering from alcoholism to get together, talk about their issues, and they build community. And from that, they're able to get back into a normal way of life without having to worry about being filled with shame or despair or hurt or anger. And so I encourage you, if you find yourself being addicted to whatever it is, to find a support group. And you can type in, whatever the addiction is, followed by the word anonymous into a search engine. Sexaholics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous, Shoppers Anonymous, whatever. And try to find a support group to talk to other people about whatever it is. But don't discount the power of prayer. Once you recognize that something has taken hold of your life, ask the Lord to help you to remove it from your life. Ask the Lord to be there as you're tempted to take that extra candy bar, as you're tempted to go into the gambling hall, as you're tempted to go online to look at illicit material. Ask the Lord to be there with you. Go to confession. Ask the priest to help you to pray. Ask the priest to give you resources on how to deal with these addictive behaviors. And really spend some time with people you trust, asking them to help you to get through it. Now, that may be difficult because you need to find somebody that isn't going to be judging you, isn't going to be criticizing you. But once you find that person who says, I'm here for you. I want to be with you, I want to pray with you, I want to pray for you, and I'm going to walk the journey with you. It makes recovery from an addictive process that much easier. So I encourage you to really look at what God is calling you to do with an addiction. And conversely, if you are living with someone who has an addiction, also seek out help. Seek the resources that are available. Go online, visit with your priest, talk it out, find a friend with whom you can share your fears and your concerns in order to help you to break the cycle. As we continue in this self-help series, we're going to try to talk about more specifics, but it's important to really recognize that addiction is not the end of the world. It can be a very devastating issue for many people, but once you break yourself out of it, you'll find that the addiction, the freedom from addiction can be very liberating, and that the addiction is no longer having control over your life, but you're having control over the addiction.